Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Hope we're all having an incredible day and we're all doing well. Just want to quickly thank everyone for helping me hit 50,000 subscribers. It's an absolutely insane milestone I thought I'd never hit, and let's go for the big 100k. Just want to quickly say as well, I just launched a new second channel focusing on Nintendo content, primarily Zelda. I'm a massive Zelda fan, so if that sounds like something you'd be into, definitely go check out and subscribe to that channel because I'm really excited for the future of it. So in this video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the operator Ela. Ela is one of the most fascinating operators in Rainbow Six Siege lore, and of course a massive part of her story is her sister Zofia, and we're going to make another video about her very soon, as well as her father Ela Bosak, who I think deserves a video on his own as well, but that will be for a later date. But we're going to start with Ela, but as you can see when I make the other videos as well, all their stories intertwine very similar, so I feel like Ela is a good starting off point to jump into it. So Ela, whose full name is Elżbieta Bosak, was born in a Polish city known as Wrocław. She is the youngest daughter of Ela Bosak, as we were talking about, and of course the younger sister of Zofia. Now a major part in the story of these three characters is the fact that Zofia was the clear favourite child of Jan. Jan was the commander of the GROM, which is a special operations unit in Poland, to then become the country's Minister of Internal Affairs after the assassination of Poland's president. So Jan, who was highly regarded in the GROM and in the country itself, he would look into his bloodline to see who would carry on his legacy, and for that he chose Zofia. This would then lead to the favoritism, which would cause an issue between Ela and Zofia. But despite this, Zofia was always protective of Ela and did truly care about her. This caused Ela to get quite close with their grandfather instead, who would tell her stories about his time as a Cichociemni, which were elite special operations paratroopers of the exiled Polish army. And he'd tell her a story of how he endured a 3-month siege in Breslau, which was a German city back in World War II, but of course after the war was over, it would become Wrocław in Poland. He would play into her more defiant spirit and would teach her that higher damage is done by striking a supply chain than by neutralizing a man. Due to this defiant spirit, which her grandfather helped her explore, it caused her to struggle initially when she was to commit to a strict military lifestyle. So when the time came, Zofia and Ela both attended their father's military school, but Ela had some difficulty here. It said that she was constantly bullied due to getting special attention from the higher-ups because she was the GROM's commander's daughter. An unspecified incident 6 months before her graduation ended up getting Ela expelled. For a short time she had to transition into another academy, but because lack of attendance, she was then transferred to a small local high school. So this kind of took her out of the military life and she became more of just an everyday civilian. And after this, she left Poland and set her sights for Berlin. She wanted to leave everything behind and experience life on her own terms. It is in Berlin where she went on to study fine arts, and a lot of her artistic backgrounds are shown in her elite skin, for example, and at some point during her time in Team Rainbow, she would go on to paint on Montaña's shield, and you can actually see this in one of his legendary skins. But as time went on, her interest in art started to fade and her old military life slowly caught up with her. Her usage of military paraphernalia in her art attracted the owner of a small private security company who offered Ela a job. With the allure of financial independence and a sense of adventure, Ela accepted. She hoped that her time in this private military company would allow a bit more freedom that she experienced at the military academy. And as we go on to learn in the future, it won't be out of character for Ela to join another private military. So during her time working in this PMC, it said that she was valued for her expertise in survivalist tactics and unique adaptive style during protective detail and intelligence gathering. During her first few years, she was deployed in Iraq and started to gain a reputation on the field. She was said to have an impressive range of abilities, but her only obstacle standing in her way was her attitude. And although she was seen as a prized addition to any squad, her employers monitored her closely to investigate reports of authority issues. So it's been 4 years since she left Poland, and after a not so great operation in Baghdad, Ela learned the unfortunate news that her father, Ela Bosak, had taken his own life. Although it is said that the circumstances around his death were a bit suspicious. And at his funeral, not only was his body buried, but so was the relationship between Zofia and Ela. However, the death of her father seemed to put some inspiration into Ela, as just a few months after his death, she would terminate her contract with the private military company and would start relentless training in an attempt to pass the GROM selection as a civilian. The instructors were impressed by her determination and prowess on the field, and then the GROM then offered her a position. She would then join her own father's unit as a way to keep his memory close to her and in an attempt to make amends. During her time in the GROM, she developed an expertise in countering threat networks, also known as CTN, and would go on to help design advanced exploitation methods to extract intel on a target's intentions and supply routes. After hearing that she was selected to join the GROM, Zofia would try and reconcile with Ela, although it seems like Ela will ignore all of these attempts. During the time at the GROM, Ela will partake in an operation known as Orange Sky, and she would be doing this operation alongside a Navy SEAL operative who is an expert in intel known as Valkyrie. This operation saw Ela spending months infiltrating a warlord's inner circle, which eventually led into her her dismantling his network without any civilians getting harmed in the process. This successful operation seemed to put Ela's name in such high regard that it caused her to be recruited by Team Rainbow in 2017. And this seems to be the first time in Rainbow's history where they went out of their way to recruit a single operative from a specialist unit rather than there being a selection process from that unit itself. 3 months after Ela would join, Zofia seemingly wanted to follow her in these steps and would use her connections to eventually contact Six, who would eventually recruit her into Team Rainbow as well. And at this point, that is Ela in Team Rainbow. She would serve as one of the many operatives on the team, and she would still kind of not be in the best relationship with her sister Zofia. And now we have a psychological report from Harry. Of course, this is when Ela was still in Rainbow and when Harry was still alive. And what Harry says is, "We civilians can understand Specialist Ela's independent nature more than some starch-collared military commander might. Of course, following orders is expected of those in the rank and file, and for someone so quick to buck against authority, she also expresses a deep respect for the military and her role within it. It's her autonomy that rubs traditionalists the wrong way, and perhaps her anger. Even at her first meeting, I detected her resolve. She's fighting against something, but it may not be authority, at least not entirely. I won't dismiss the concerns of commanding officers who mention that Bosak can be impulsive, but I would urge them instead to appreciate her creative resilience. Anyone who has worked with artists can attest to this quality. It manifests in the field in the protection of her team and her high number of successful operations. Her impulsiveness, her adaptability, is the very quality that causes her to excel. Both Ela and her sister, Zofia, carry the deep impression of their father's influence. Ela is more inclined to accept that her father, though exceptional, wasn't perfect. In reviewing Commander Bosak's file, I saw a proud, insightful man. That's the key. Ela is finally tuned to the patterns and behaviours around her, and when she seems defiant, it's because she's frustrated with those who lack this vision. Joining Rainbow and working with other elite operators has somewhat tempered this frustration as she no longer feels constrained by the attitudes of those around her. Ela's defiance extends into her personal life. She isn't interested in self-improvement, she told me. She was surprised when I said I know about her volunteer work. She roams the streets late at night with food and blankets to hand out, or even just a cigarette. Then she listens. Her conversations with strangers offer fresh perspective. She stockpiles them to add to her insight and therefore her skills, but also as fuel for her work. The status quo isn't what she wants it to be, but that won't stop her from trying to kick it into shape. And that was Harry talking about Ela. However, it seems like Ela's rebellious nature wouldn't stay hidden for long, as in 2022, during the Invitational, which was a competition which was part of Harry's program, which was done as an overall training attempt by putting a form of competition between them to help improve relationships between operators and pit them against each other as a form of extensive training, because just as Harry said, there is no greater enemy than themselves. So in this Invitational event, she was placed on Team Callie, and in this Team Callie will reach the finals, where she will face off against Zofia. This led to an intense moment between the two sisters where it seems like there was a lot of emotions involved. But one of the major things that Callie and Nighthaven done after this Invitational was depart from Team Rainbow and extended the offer to the Rainbow operatives that were a part of Team Callie. And these operatives were Finka, IQ, Ela, Smoke, and Pulse. And of course the existing Nighthaven operatives at this time were Callie, Osa, Ace, Wamai, and Aruni. All of these Rainbow operatives would accept this offer and leave Team Rainbow to join Nighthaven. And Zofia would not agree with the decision, as you can hear in this clip.
Ela!
Father would be ashamed of you.
Father died, Zofia. But you left me alone.
And up to the current point in the lore, Ela is still part of Nighthaven. And we actually have a little psych note from Callie talking about Ela, and what it says is, Bosak's integration depends on making sure she doesn't regret cutting ties with her sister and Rainbow at large. She wanted action and freedom without the baggage of familial trauma. Nighthaven will give her that. We need her to know that she can count on our loyalty. Her closeness with Osa should work to that effect, but we cannot rely on this alone. I'll set up a training session, just Ela and I. And it is clear that one of the major reasons she left Team Rainbow was to get away from Zofia. It's clear that that relationship between them is just too harsh for her. It carries too much emotional baggage because of their father, and she simply doesn't want that on her mind anymore. Now, in this time that she left, of course, we get the emergence of Deimos as a villain. He kills Harry, who is the director of 6, and injures 5 operators. And one of the operators that gets injured is none other than Zofia. And that's why I believe that Ela and Zofia's relationship is going to get Nighthaven more involved with Deimos, because I can't imagine Ela is going to sit on the sidelines and hear that her sister has been injured from this new villain, whose goal is to kill every operator. I can't imagine imagine Nighthaven and Ela are not going to do anything about that. Yeah, there's a lot of operators that have issues with each other on either side, but I can't imagine, and especially in Ela and Zofia's case, that they won't try and save each other's lives. So that is the story of Ela in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm going to do another video another day talking about Zofia, and then a video talking about Ela Bosak as well, because it seems like there's more to his story rather than just a normal suicide. So guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new. What do you think about this story of Ela? I definitely think she is one of the most interesting operators in Rainbow Six Siege, and I hope you guys do as well. Have an incredible rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.